pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you remain standing, John Purdy's going to open us with prayer.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the time that we have this evening. We pray that you'd help us to be wise in the way we make decisions, the way we expend the taxpayers' money. Help us to be frugal. Help us to be wise and diligent. Thank you especially for our friend who's back, who had a brush with a difficult health issue. Praise you that he's on the mend. Thank you also for our first responders and our military all around the world, the way that they protect our freedom and make all the rest of our lives possible. We pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. You may be seated. Okay, first order of business. We have a motion for President of Town Council.
I nominate John Perrin.
Second.
Motion a second. Any other nominations? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. And we need a nomination for Vice President.
I nominate John Purdy.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other nominations or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5 affirmative. We're just laughing because he ducked it. So. Okay, do we have a motion to approve the minutes from December 3rd?
Motion to approve the minutes from December 3rd.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5 affirmative. We have 2 fund reports and dockets. The first one is from December 31st. We have a motion to approve.
Make the motion to approve.
A motion by John Purdy,
Second.
second by Dennis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5 affirmative. And tonight's docket, January 7th.
Motion to approve.
Motion by John.
Second.
Second by Chad. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5 affirmative. Okay, old business. This is going to be quick. Last month, we actually finally got a quote to replace the heating and air units in all of our buildings. And because we did have the funding still available in the 25 budget, we went ahead and approved getting them replaced. I know that Dwayne did get a verbal quote from the person who had been working on our system and got no response from a third vendor. So after consulting with Lee, we did everything exactly the way we should, but we wanted to get it on the record that council was aware and had no issue with replacing the units. So probably need a motion and a vote to approve.
A motion.
Motion by Chad. Yeah.
What's the expense?
$30,687
Something along that line.
or $682.
That's what we expected.
Yeah, it was exactly what they had quoted us.
Okay.
So, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Dennis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5 affirmative. Okay, new business, insurance renewal. Mr. Mayfield.
That can be as short or as long as you want. So everybody got the packet, and then I brought a packet. So when I first looked at this and saw that it went from 124, 607 to 139, I was like, holy smokes. But then after I did a little diving into it, we had done a walk around with Wayne and Matt back in the end of May, 1st of June, I can't remember what it was, and made changes to building type. Made changes to some buildings, increased and decreased. We reduced some of them, which is what we told you we were going to do all that. But we also found some things that had not been listed on that policy at that time. We came back before we made that change and told you what that was going to be. You guys approved all of that. The change that is from that point, June till now, is the inflationary thing that the insurance company has on all the policies. up. So the values went up, $1,736,706, which seems like a lot, but it's about 5% of your total values. And, so that's part of it. The inland marine schedule, which is the equipment and things like that. And I'm on this second top page, top of the red, it went up 209,461. Miscellaneous property went up 155,000, which then increased the flood policy went up because of those items went up. And you have one more vehicle. What I didn't look at is you have one more vehicle, but I don't know whether you took old vehicles off and put new ones on. I didn't check that, but I think you did. I know there were some changes on the vehicles, but there's one more vehicle than there was last year for total. But then, 3 pages in, the first column shows the limit, the building limit, and the contents limit that we started with off of the old policy. And then on 6/9, when we endorsed it, some of them went up, some of them stayed the same, some of them went down. And then it shows the renewal, like the first one went from, it didn't change at all in June, 25 million, and it's 26 million. So that's the 5% increase. The contents went from 500,000 to 515. So that's where that was your population number was either incorrectly listed last year, because we think it's correct this year, based on checking. So I don't know why it was wrong last year. We took it off of the traveler's policy, and we were talking about, he's not sure where that number came from, but that's, and it's banded, so when you go over 5,000 people, you won't see a change in that until you get to 10,000 people. So, but under 5,000 was one rate, and you were slightly under the 5,000. So, and if that's not correct, I can correct that, but that's the information that we had received. Right now, we're waiting on the cyber application. We quoted the cyber, it's included. We're waiting on the cyber application to come back, and there's a few forms that we need signatures on. The renewal is February 14th, I think. 12th, February 12th. And so I wanted to give it to you. I know before you always have them come in last minute, so I hope to have it to you before the Christmas break, but it just didn't, with people off, underwriters off, and things like that. We didn't get it till during the Christmas break, so, and we got it out to you then.
Angel, I think you said you might have a question or two. Have those been addressed? One was the population.
Is definitely over 5,000, and then the employees I was talking to Missy, she said there were a lot of additional paid standby fire
Right.
added this year.
So you feel like your concerns in that respect were answered?
Well, my question was, because we had a separate meeting where you came in and we increased certain aspects of the fire policy, and like the paid standby, I don't know, like, are they full-time employees, like?
No. So the best way to do that is to take the actual employees, the full-time new Whiteland employees, and put those on the category. Take all of the rest of them, take what you paid them annually, divide that by their hourly rate to figure out how many hours on average they work. If it's more than 30 is the cutoff. If it's less than 30, it's one way. If it's more than 30, it's another way. Because that number did also go up 48, and I said that seemed like a lot. But again, this information we got from, I don't know where it was. The fire chief, I don't know who provided it, it just came to us. But if that number's not right, again, we can correct that. But that's how to determine the full-time equivalent, is do they work 30 hours or more.
So you're saying you took all the hours worked basically in 24 and divided by 30, and that's how many effective full-time.
So to make it simple, they make $50,000 divided back by the hourly rate,
Right.
and then divide that by.
So we're saying the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
if it's, the number of hours is less than 30, that's one category, and over 30 is another category.
And I know we added quite a bit of paid standby in 25. We've added quite a bit more for 26.
Right.
It was like- I think
We
it
have a
was-
monthly cap on hours, nobody can work more than, it's 30 hours per week, right?
Yes, on an average.
Right.
So if somebody goes
So-
32, it's okay.
Everybody's capped at, you only do 120 per month,
Okay.
so it's never gonna go over that,
Capped at what did you say?
120 per month.
Oh, okay. I got
So
you.
So 30 a week.
So we'll never go over that 30.
Does that match with your records then? He's saying we don't have any
But did all
full-timers.
of them work the 120?
No.
So the cap of that,
Cap
to
of that.
keep under the, yeah, so really what we need to know is how much less, there's some, or half of them less than that, which then would be more part-time and falls in a different category. Yeah, full-time
Sounds
equivalent.
like
They
Yeah.
all will,
all the fire department are.
they all will, because they'll be under that 30.
Okay, so they're all under the 30 hours,
And
okay.
see, we don't have any additional
But
full-time
that's,
employees.
but that's the 48 that was, because that's what it counted was full-time equivalent 30, or part-time equivalent 30, that's what they did. 30 hours for 48 of them. Does 48 sound right?
No, I'm not sure that can.
That was the-
Because we're one less person whose job's gone, and then we have a DPW without switch, so that's like, you should kind of be down one.
Okay,
If
so if
anything.
you can get that corrected number to me, I can get that to the underwriter and they'll just adjust it.
Are you saying 48 people part-time?
Yeah,
Well, how many members do you have?
37.
Okay, so that's
Yeah.
9 additional that,
right,
because everybody else would be full-time.
right,
So we already know we're over by 9 part-time.
right. So if you'll send that to me, I'll get that corrected, so that will reduce it some. It's not a huge charge, but
Right.
it's on the level.
Right, but at least it'll truth that.
Yeah.
Dean, you've said a couple of times that it's less than a 5% increase. I'm looking at this page.
The values went up 5%. The rate, the actual rate, so they took all of the values, you went up 1.7 million
Right.
on the buildings and whatever it was on the other stuff.
And that's what I assumed. I just wanted to make sure that's what's going on.
Yeah.
Had those values
Yeah,
not gone up,
It'd have been, if we had to make one change, it'd been a 4% increase.
so that's what you mean by that.
The
Okay.
pure rate increase was.
I guess I assumed that's what you meant, but it's
Yeah,
not quite
yeah.
what you
Which
communicated.
is very low, I mean, in this market, a 4% rate increase is very low. We're seeing, 10 is nothing, and then if you've got claims, which you guys haven't, but we have, it's even higher, so 4 was very, very good, but it's we changed the values
Right,
and took 4%, so,
right.
yeah.
Matt and Dwayne, are you guys comfortable with the process and the equipment and the values and all those things?
Yeah, so that's what I was just telling Matt, need to run through it real quick, and while the fire department was here, I had him look at a couple ones. I do see where we need to remove one of the items on the scheduled equipment,
Okay,
but we'll run through, and I know since Angela will get the correct number, if she'll just copy everybody, Matt and I in the email, we'll respond to that and tell what needs to be removed.
And then I guess, assuming we proceed, we can say as long as it's no higher,
Yeah.
that we don't, maybe
yeah,
we
it's
don't.
not gonna be, it's gonna go down.
Right, I guess.
Okay, so these are the actual premiums. We went from 124,607 to 139. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that's not the figure we had talked about. Because when I talked to Dwayne today, yesterday, I asked what we had budgeted for. And we had budgeted for an increase, but this to me seems more than 10%.
10.4%.
Okay, so,
But that was, and, because that was one of the questions I was gonna have, but when you explained,
Right. Values went up.
yes, the value's going up, and then, so it is,
That increase.
Yeah.
they've looked at our buildings and said they're not
No,
worth 46.
I understand that part, but
You're saying what we had budgeted. but
what we budgeted for is not this amount of
I
money.
was thinking that I budgeted 15% increase, but it's on me, I gotta double check.
Yeah, if we didn't budget at least 10.4%,
I don't know
we're
what,
short.
that would have just been on the utility side, I don't know what,
I would have
what was
budgeted for
done
an
everywhere
increase,
else.
but I can't recall how much of an increase, but I know I would have budgeted for an increase.
I just don't want us to say yes to this and then we find out, oops, we didn't.
yes, so
Put enough in
for
there.
property insurance, I actually, as far as utilities, I did a 15% increase.
Okay,
You probably see this current premium, that's our health insurance.
Not that it matters, but I think even the 139, even with all the changes that we made last year, I think it's still less than traveling was before it was. I mean, they would have, well, they should have made the same changes to the property values and, I don't think there were
well,
half a dozen things that went on the schedule maybe that, and it wasn't big things, it was like playground equipment, flagpole.
Yeah.
But there was a couple things out at the utility area, like a generator wasn't on there, I remember that.
Like I said, as far as utilities go, I can speak for it that, if it's 10.4, I had a 15% increase on what we had. So
Okay.
I looked at the wrong line.
okay,
He
we're
looked
fine.
at the employee group insurance for the employee insurance.
Okay.
Increased it.
No, that's fine. I just didn't want to go through all this and,
I was-
you know,
And then I'm able to pay it.
yeah, because, you
That
know,
number comes up.
regardless of where the number came from,
Right.
even if it is increased
Yeah.
values, that's fine, but it's still a dollar amount.
Right,
So, but as long as we covered it, we're fine.
yeah.
Any other questions for Dean?
Dwayne, you said you looked at the wrong line, but you did budget for at least 10% increase.
Yeah, all of
Okay.
that type of stuff, and yeah, it's.
Okay.
Usually what happens is when we're doing the budgets, we budget the same
Okay.
dollar amount, so.
Alrighty.
So then we've got a couple of updates
I'll double check
to
mine.
get to Dean, we've got a number to get back
We'll
from
get that to
you.
you, we'll send it over, but if you guys are good, we still need that cyber app, which I'm assuming somebody else is having to do this cyber.
I would say probably 40.
Yeah, we said last year's and the blank one for this year, so it just needs to be updated if there was any changes. And then a couple
I'll have to
signatures.
see
We'll
if
send
somebody
those
gave
over
it
to
to
sign
sign.
off on it. We'll get it filled out plenty of times, so.
Do we want to approve this as long as it is no more than what we're seeing on the quote? And it should go down.
Yeah,
Yes.
With
I don't think
the,
it's gonna go down a lot, but it'll go down some, yeah.
yeah, it may.
And we are budgeted appropriately for this
Yes.
number.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, that was my question. I wanted to make sure.
So maybe Angela can verify that as well.
Yeah.
We've got enough in the budget. And then maybe email the group, and as long as both those things are true, then.
Yeah. So, I mean, we can vote on it pending that those are
Yeah.
correct, so that way they can proceed.
I'll make the motion to do that.
Okay, John Purdy,
I will second.
second by Dennis. Other questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5 affirmative.
I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
And then we need to send, we send it to you, Anthony,
I would say,
or just Angela?
I would say,
Okay. I'll have her resend that. There's like 3 places to be signed, but that cyber app, I need now, so, I don't anticipate.
yeah, I'll check on that. She had mentioned, I think Missy may have sent that over to Corey. She's out sick right now, so
With the
I'll check
holidays
with
and
Corey
stuff.
tomorrow.
It was sent on the holiday.
Yeah, yeah.
It just might be a reminder.
Right.
Missy's out sick now too?
I think she left early yesterday and then was out today, is what I understand.
Everybody's getting sick.
Right, everybody is.
Stay
Except for
away.
you, except for you and me.
Yeah, it's nasty. Well, we almost lost this one.
Really?
Yeah.
It got a little shaky last one.
One of the Morgan County counties, she had it for 5 weeks, did you give it? She had it for 5 weeks, it sounded horrible, and then felt a little bit better and went out, and,
Started
you
over.
know, and so, she's better now, but it was like horrible.
Yeah, it's nasty.
Yeah, find some wood somewhere.
Yeah, alright, if you guys have any questions, give us a call, I think, once we get everything squared away with these guys with the buildings and all that, I think it's been pretty smooth over, so.
Okay.
Okay, and we are remarketing the work comp, it comes up at a different date, I think it's April something. And, so we've got that out in a couple different markets, hopefully get the rate down a little bit. So we've got a couple that like doing municipalities other than the one you're with.
Okay.
So we'll be back to that. All right.
Thanks,
Any
Dean.
questions, give us a call. and I'll
Appreciate it.
Have them call you.
Okay.
Employee bonds,
So last year, we hadn't received one, and it was crazy. We ended up doing bonds over, I think, 3 different meetings. I have them all tonight. So I don't know if we can just do one motion to approve them all, and then each one of you has to sign each one of them, so.
okay.
I think it's fine to do one motion and approve
Yeah.
them all.
Do we have a motion to approve the employee bonds? Who all's involved? Who all has, we have this?
Me, and then Missy, and Cindy, and Kim, basically anyone who's handling money.
Okay,
What's the amount of the bonds?
Mine is,
The 30.
well,
I thought they were 30,000.
mine is 180,
Oh, as
Missy's is 25,000, and Kim's is 25,000, and Cindy's is probably also 25,000.
Make the motion to approve.
motion by John Purdy,
Second.
second by Chad. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5 affirmative. We'll keep going while we're taking care of this. The only other thing on new business, we did, grant our employees the day after Christmas as a day off. But we just want to make it official that everybody knew. So we just need a motion to approve that.
So moved. Hope we approve it.
Yeah, hope we approve it.
I'll second. Merry Christmas.
Motion was John Schlotsky, second by John Purdy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5 affirmative.
And just so I'm clear, you're approving that was a paid day off.
Yes. Okay, Angela, you have any other new business? Lee, Chad?
No.
John? I do. I'm just gonna throw this out. This is something I have been thinking about and contemplating. I don't want us to take any action tonight. I just want the council to give it some thought. If you look at any municipality around us, everyone pays either a town manager or a town administrator. We do not. And we have gotten by pretty well. But a lot of those duties are being put on our superintendents and our office manager, which have never complained about them whatsoever. But it's also something we've asked them to do without any additional compensation. So, what I am going to throw out is I would like the council to consider assigning the council president, which would be myself, some additional duties. Those would include dealing with vendors, researching equipment, going through this dog and pony show trying to find heating and air. Sometimes it's difficult to find enough vendors to meet the statute where we're getting enough quotes and things. I would like to be able to meet with the department heads and help with budgeting. When I say look for equipment, things like that, I'm not asking for any extra authority whatsoever, because I think that's a mistake. But let's say, like with the heating and air system, where Dwayne had gotten a quote for $30,000. What I would like to be able to do is, if the council says, yes, we're agreeable to $30,000, and I can go out and find a reputable company that says, yeah, we'll do exactly the same thing for 25. I don't wanna wait till next month to come back and get something going, as long as it's already been approved by the council. If we find something less, then let's do it. And as far as compensation, I want absolutely nothing. I will do this for a year. I will commit to either a Tuesday or Thursday afternoon in the office each week, and one Friday per month, full-time, full day. I'm still working a job, so I can't commit to much more than that right now. But I would like to go back to having at least quarterly department head meetings, because there's things that they may need help with. When I talk about the budgeting process, I know there's been a couple conversations here just since the last meeting about some things that some of the department heads were not absolutely sure were included in their budget. And so those are things that we can sit down and, okay, when we're looking at contractual services and we do your budget, when they hand those budget packets to us, if there's something in contractual services, let's say for Matt's department, everything that he has a contract for is going to be listed on that budget. So that when we look at it, we know what it is. And then that way, there's no question of, I wasn't sure. It's going to make it cleaner and easier for everybody. Okay? If you have questions or comments tonight, I'll be more than happy. I just want everybody to think about it, consider it. I will try to put together a more concrete plan and send out to you before the next meeting. But my thought process is, if our neighboring town can pay somebody $95,000 a year to do this position, and we have somebody that's willing to do it for free, let's see how it works.
Clearly, your intention wouldn't, I realize what you're saying a year from now. Well, what I assume you're saying is a year from now, we'll all sit down and evaluate and decide. This may be are you thinking this may be a retirement position for you, that this might turn into something more full-time?
No, if it was something that the council found that it was a huge benefit and they wanted to go that route, we can talk. It's not what I'm looking for, seriously, because hopefully I don't need it. But my plan is to retire in 358 days. That's my plan. But Lee and I have had this conversation before about the needs of New Whiteland, and I had some doubts in the past when we talked, because Lee's been adamant that, for what we do, we don't need to pay somebody a god-awful amount of money to be a town manager. And I agree with him at this point. It may be something that we get through this year and it's beneficial. We may look at it as a council and say, let's see if we can find somebody that wants to do it on an hourly basis for 20 hours a week or something. But again, if it doesn't cost us anything and we find it works, that gives us a little bit better than what we did several years ago, where we hired somebody, paid them $65,000 a year, and found out it was a disaster. So again, I'm just throwing it out for what it's worth. I put a huge amount of thought into this.
From a legal standpoint, is there any kind of conflict with that? Okay, I assumed not.
Well, John, that's what I've been trying to process. It becomes a could, should. Okay, could we do it? I haven't found anything that says we can't. So then it becomes a should, and I haven't even made up a decision on that. I mean, it's a lot to think about, but I mean, again, I do understand the whole no cost. Okay, that's very attractive to me.
Well, and Lee and I had before I wanted to even present this to anybody, I was concerned like you were. Is it something we can do? And and you correct me if I'm wrong, but the way Lee explained it to me, as long as it's the council just saying, okay, these are now duties or tasks assigned to the council president.
Correct. That's,
Then we're not creating a position, we're not doing anything that would be deemed to be improper.
I don't know that, this is another example of New Whiteland doing things really, really well with, really great transparency and, collaboration, and it's all great, like it has been for a number of years now. And a lot of it has to do with John Perry. But it can kind of be as structured and formal, or as informal and casual as you all want it to be. I think that any one of you as council members could involve yourself more in the day-to-day operation of the town if you chose to. The council president, that so happens to be John, could have his hand in more of the day-to-day operations than what the council president has historically, if the council president chooses to. I think the issue that comes up, we have seen this in other communities, right? When an elected official starts to be too involved in day-to-day operations, we call that micromanaging, right? And that becomes a negative term pretty quickly. Although I think sometimes micromanagement isn't bad. It can be positive, it can be constructive, it can be helpful, but that's not how that term has found its way into our sort of common vocabulary. It tends to refer to somebody who is overreaching and involving themselves in matters that are not at a board level or administrative level, and they tend to be interfering rather than facilitating good daily operations. And so I think part of what John wants to be sure of is he's willing, it's very generous, he's willing to give his time to assist with those tasks that an administrator or manager maybe would do. I think it takes some of the burden off of those who are doing that now. And to maybe, if they still carry some of that burden, just to be of help to them. But I think he doesn't want to just go off and do that without you all knowing it. And if you do object to him sort of micromanaging, you have the opportunity to voice that concern. But I don't think he needs your permission. I think he wants to make sure this is something that you all buy into. And I don't see how in the world there's any downside to it, really. And I think it is a good experiment because I do agree it would cost a lot of money to hire a town manager. But the other piece is you can't hire one that you're going to be happy with. I don't think. I mean, I think that person who you want to do this job isn't going to come to work here. That person is starting out a career freshly minted out of SPIA with a Master's of Public Administration, who is going to try to ascend up to higher positions in larger administrations. And at most, they would stop over here, but that doesn't do us much good because they're here and gone. Or you're going to end up with somebody who has washed out trying to do that someplace else, and you're not going to be happy with them. And so I've had this conversation with every town I've represented that would a really, really good town manager be an asset? Sure. Can you hire one? You can't. I don't care how much money you throw at it. I don't think you can, because I think they aspire to be someplace else. I think there are some unicorns out there if you could find them and get a rope around their neck, and those are administrators who have worked somewhere else and are wanting to sort of scale back and retire and still keep their hand in and work a part-time position, that have had their career and are now looking to kind of phase out. I don't know where that person is. If we stumbled upon that person, that might be great. If you stumbled on somebody who wanted to work for several small towns, 2 or more small towns, and give each of them 12 or 15 hours a week, that might work too. But I don't know how to find that unicorn. They might be out there, but I don't know how to locate that. But if John does this and you find that, everyone reports back that, boy, it has lightened the load. We are getting better results. His input has been really valuable. And now that we have it, we don't want to give it up. Then I think you have the benefit of having conducted that experiment and then can make a decision about, is this something we need to maintain? And whether you maintain that with figuring out a way to persuade him to do it longer, or whether you find that unicorn or the right person to continue to do what John does, you do it going into it with more knowledge than you have now.
Right, and that was the nature of my question. My assumption is you're not going to do this for free forever. Is this something that you would envision over time becoming a part-time job that's compensated?
It would take a lot of thought and a lot of prayer to decide. My wife's been retired for 3 years, and she's like, when do I get to travel?
Well, the last thing she wants is you hanging around home.
This is true.
Right?
Yeah, she voices her
She wants to
opinion.
travel with you?
Yeah, I know.
So,
Go ahead, John.
Lee, where my head keeps going, and I just really need you to correct me if I'm wrong, is that this arrangement is very possible, okay? But if it were to become a situation for compensation, isn't that a problem?
Can't be.
Yeah.
He can't be.
Right.
Okay.
He can't be
Right.
a council member and an employee.
Yeah.
Well, full disclosure, John and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. One of the things I asked him then was, write a job description. Let me see what you have in mind, what the duties are, how you interact. One of the things I'd say is, from my own personal due diligence, believe I know what I'll hear, but I don't want to talk to our department heads one-on-one and get their input, and I can do that. The other thing, it strikes me that maybe this ought to be decoupled from being, this is part of the president's duties, because you're going to want to retire from the council at some point. Maybe you're going to want to retire from this at some point. And I don't know, but the four of us, I don't think any of the four of us would be in a position to take on those duties, and therefore electing the next president might be difficult.
Yeah.
And I'll go a step farther than that. Full disclosure, again, John asked me both this year and last year if I'd consider being the council president. And I've said, no, I wouldn't. And the primary reason is, I can't be available as you are. When there's an HR issue and it needs to be addressed immediately, I don't have that capacity. This is the 7th meeting I've had today. If something came up this morning at 8 o'clock, I wouldn't even have been able to think about it until right now. That's not fair to the town. And you've had that capacity, you've had that willingness. If we separated these two things, that would probably provide enough bandwidth for somebody else to consider being the president while you're in this role. So again, I'm not saying I don't have any issues at all. I like the idea. I think there's just some aspects that you said you're not looking for an answer this evening, but there's some aspects we have to look at between now and next month.
I don't think you all could impose additional duties on the office of the council president anyway.
No, but those are the words we said.
I know.
It is,
Yeah.
absolutely it is.
But going forward,
Yeah.
if we say that you all are gonna design this arrangement where John Perrin as council president is going to be more involved in the operation of the town and act more like an administrator, with your support and backing, great. That can be packaged however you want. To say that then, once you have done that, the next president is tasked with the same responsibility. Right. You can't make that stick.
Right. Honestly, I think the way I look at it is, and my terminology probably wasn't correct. If we were to decide, yes, tonight, this is going to work, we'll do it this way. You guys could all decide in March, we don't want to do it this way anymore. Right. And it all changes. So it could be personnel changes or however that works. And we're going to move on. But the only one other thing I want to say about this before we move on, because we have every one of our department heads or at least a representative. I am not asking to do this to help run your departments. Okay? I will tell every one of you this, as I have said from day one. David, I can't run a fire department. Dave, I can't run a police department. Matt and Dwayne, I can't run a street department, and I can't run a wastewater plant. I have no business coming in trying to micromanage any of your departments. If I do this, it's to be a help. So that if, you know, Dave, there's been several times where Joe's been looking for police cars. Guess what? I'm in so many places around this state, I found him 2 police cars. Why not? That's what my envision is of trying to help. That's all.
One of the things that I'd like to just point out, John, you've done a great job and a great service to this community for years.
I agree.
Okay. This is kind of a no-brainer for me. I'm kind of like John. What does that do structurally when John Perrin's not here? Okay. And so, I mean, I don't have a lot of reservations or fears about this now because you've already taken on a lot of just managing the town on your own. Okay. Working with the vendors, you know, asking for permission to, you know, work with somebody to make some sort of a deal, get some sort of equipment or something like that. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, this is comfortable to me. I do look at the future, you know, because then what happens if John's gone?
Well, I think one way to look at it is you conducted an experiment that will be valuable to you.
Yep.
That will be informative.
That's well put. Yeah.
Just to throw this out of where I see what I would like to happen with this. I have talked to a local company about car maintenance or auto repairs. One thing I asked them is if we were to use you for our oil changes, things like that, is that something that a town employee could benefit from? Yes, we will give special pricing for your town employees. I said, okay. I said, how would you feel if somebody that lives in New Whiteland, we give them a card with your name on it, and they come up with their driver's license and they're gonna have $2,000 worth of work done, will you give them a discount on their labor? And their answer was, well, we'd be stupid not to. Why could we not? Okay, the thing we all talk about in here is our job is to benefit them. If we find people that would let us put together a program like that, why would we not? That's the kind of stuff that I would like to get more involved with. But again, think about it. We'll talk about it in February. If you have questions, please feel free to call, text. Don't text. We don't text.
We've talked about that.
Yeah. But yeah, and as far as department heads, if you guys have questions, please feel free to reach out. Okay.
Well, and it's worth saying, we've had the luxury of not having a town manager because of our department heads. And I mean, Matt and Wade,
Yeah.
maybe primarily, but all of you guys, that's been a real luxury that this town's had for a long time. And it's not lost on me, the quality of the people we already have.
Saved us a lot of money.
Yeah, I agree.
Dennis, you have anything else in your
Nope.
business? John?
I do not.
Dave? David? Angela? All right, let's move to legislative business. Ordinance 2025-15.
Wonderful start.
You know, I do have one.
Still early.
They're not done yet.
This is kind of just an FYI, but on Monday, Missy and I, there's a lady that's gonna help us with the urine. We do that every year and it usually takes all day, so just to let everybody know that we're gonna be pretty tied up on Monday doing that.
Is that Susie?
Hopefully
Susie
we'll just
is
feel
here,
better.
usually it's Lisa Heil, but, Lisa Heil, they put her in a different role. And Susie does this with a lot of communities, so I feel like you can trust her to do a good job.
I did respond to your email about the emergency management, that they need somebody. I talked to Dwayne about it yesterday because he and Matt went to the last one and they felt it wasn't geared towards them. So it's funny, I tried to call Stephanie this afternoon to see who needed to be there. Couldn't reach anybody in emergency management. So,
Are you kidding?
no, they said if you needed something, call 911.
Okay.
So
So
I'll
did you
try
call
again.
911?
Yeah.
So you're thinking that you would do it?
I will get a hold of to find out. I mean, from what they gathered, it should be more geared towards police and fire.
That's what I was thinking.
So-
That's where we went to the meeting, we walk in and, you know, we're in this and everybody else is in there all nicely, you know, white dress shirts and got their fire department badge and their police department. I'm like, yeah, I don't think this is probably.
So that I know it won't work for you because it's on a Thursday from 9 to noon.
Yeah, this goes on during the day.
Yeah, but you have to go 2 Thursdays in a row. I'll get with you guys when I talk to them down there and see who needs to be there. So it may be something that, you know, 2 or 3 of us go. So, but I'll get you guys informed. Okay. Okay. Ordinance 2025-15 transfer ordinance.
And these are, just like we've done every year, these are ratifying the end of year documents. Because they're dated December 31st, but it's our end of year cleanup transfer, and then the next one's the resolution and covering purchase orders, which are housekeeping items we have to have in the year end.
I had a question on 2025-15. One of the items towards the bottom is 303,205 moving from deputy marshal to local road bridge.
Okay, yes, that's the CCMG. That is, I have that folder.
And I think I understand that. It just struck me as odd that it's coming out of
Right
deputy
here.
marshal.
Okay, so I have the resolution and the meeting minutes from 3 different meetings last year. Because what happened was, we had a December 18th special meeting where you decided that we would spend the remaining ARPA funds on salaries.
Gotcha.
And that in doing that, we were freeing up money that we could use on road projects where we're having this 25% match.
All right, I'm there.
And so it's just the behind the scenes.
It just struck me as an odd match, but
It
okay.
should, and I'm glad you noticed it, because it is odd, but that's why I have copious notes, because when I get audited, I want them to see.
Why is our deputy marshal walking around with 300 grand?
They make really good money.
Yeah.
And
At least they're carrying guns. I mean,
And they're really nice guns.
I do have a question, and I guess shame on me for not knowing the difference. In an email earlier today, you said we're gonna take it from an ordinance to a resolution.
So
What
this
is the-
This time I have it as an ordinance because it's still updated for 2025, but going forward, 2026, because Lee and I talked, I think a few weeks ago, about that transfers don't need to be done by ordinance. They can be done by resolution, which makes it where you can approve it in the same night real easily. It's also
Okay, it's okay.
It's just a housekeeping item, and also ordinances are more like the golf cart and the rules and the regulations, and not like housekeeping items.
Okay.
If I'm explaining this correctly.
I don't know how to explain it and make it real clear. They seem like the same thing.
Yeah,
And if
we
you-
voted on them all the time, so.
What Angela's saying is right. I tend to think of ordinances as things that are rules, right? But there are certain statutory requirements, like you adopt your budget is an ordinance, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know why. But what we see, and this really does seem silly, but under the code, an ordinance cannot be adopted at the meeting at which it is first introduced unless there's unanimous consent of all the members present to adopt it that night, and there's a vote of 2/3 or more of the members present to adopt it that night. If it says ordinance at the top of the page. If it says resolution at the top of the page, you can introduce and adopt it that night by a majority vote.
Okay.
I will,
And so some of it's just what you're right on there, but to try to keep, to try to honor what makes sense to both of us and what we consider to be ordinances versus resolutions, something that I think is purely transactional, I think is fine to be a resolution.
Yep.
Something that changes the town code or sets a rule like a nuisance ordinance, speed limits, stop signs, things that, zoning regulations, where we're adopting rules that are our sort of local governance, I think ought to take the form of an ordinance.
Yep.
Rate ordinances, they need to be an ordinance, the statute tells us that. And I think those are things too that really ought to be introduced one night and adopted another night by practice, because our constituents ought to have an opportunity to know about it, and not to come in here and yell at you all before you actually adopt it. So I think going forward, if we consider it to be transactional, I think it's fine to be a resolution, and I think that's common practice, and procedurally it allows us to get it all done one night. So there you are.
Makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Yep.
And I did ask on the clerk treasurer listserv, because I was just curious, and most people responded and said they're doing resolutions, and they gave me examples of ones to use.
Okay. All right, we need a motion to adopt ordinance 2025-15.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by John Purdy, second by Chad. Questions, comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? 5 affirmative. Now, do we need to do it, since this is 25, do we need to do it on second reading, or?
I think in the language of the motion, we're motioning to ratify.
Okay,
That 25-15, well, I think because you voted unanimously to approve it.
okay, so we're not doing the suspend the rules and the dog and
I
pony
really don't
show?
think that's necessary.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
I know we did for a long, long time,
Yeah.
and we satisfied the statutory requirements by doing that.
Either way we do though, so, okay. Resolution 2025-3.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by John Shalotsky. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? 5 affirmative. Angela, you have anything else? Okay, that is everything on this evening's agenda, so the meeting is open to the,
You can go public at all.
go ahead.
I forgot to mention, I just want to give you a heads up, it'll probably come in the February meeting. I didn't get the information back in time for this meeting. Gradison is probably going to come here to the council they're wanting to put in a lift station instead of a gravity sewer in that townhome section. Right now, those plans for the construction of the sewers and roads and stuff are in review with the engineers. I have the engineer doing a lifetime cost assessment on what lift station they are planning on putting in, on what it basically would cost us to run it for the life of it. I don't have any of that information back. Just my personal opinion, or I guess my professional opinion, would be is that a gravity sewer was what was originally proposed and would work, and their reasoning was it was going to cost them less money to put a lift station in than the gravity sewer. Why do we want to take over and run something that we're going to have to pay an electric bill on month, and we're going to have to maintain pumps, all that stuff? But
Why are they coming here?
you and I had talked and said, I think you had told me they would need the council's approval
To take dedication.
to be able to take a dedication, and I told them that they would have to,
Is that what they're wanting to? Is that what they're wanting to ask for?
They're wanting to ask for a lift station.
No, but is there a request next meeting for the town to take ownership of it?
No.
Are they
No, I
just
think-
wanting approval to change the plans?
I think they're wanting to make sure that the council's good with it prior to, and I think it's more on my end than anything. I don't want to.
But I think if that's a change in construction plans or development plans, that's a plan commission function, right?
Okay, well then we can go to the planning commission with it. But,
Yeah, but and I'm not even sure that can't be done administratively.
well, I think that's what you and I talked about.
But if they want the town to take dedication of the lift station
Right.
and make it and own it
Right.
and maintain it forever, like you're saying you think you don't want to do, ultimately, that would have the council ultimately takes dedication of public improvements.
And I think that's what they're trying to get a feel of where the council's
Okay,
before they, obviously, we go through and we approve plans, or they get approved plans, they put in a lift station, and then we go to try to take dedication, they try to get dedication, and we say no. You get what I'm saying? Because that basically was my answer to them when they originally said, they sent the plans, I'm like, we're not gonna take dedication. Like, to me, it's just, it's stupid to take dedication of something that's gonna cost us money that there is no benefit to us. And they didn't really like that answer, and so that's kind of when I told them that.
They're going over your head, is what they're.
You're gonna have to get approved from the council for dedication.
okay.
Not me, because I'm not.
So I guess before offering the improvements in the subdivision to the town for dedication, they're kind of doing a what if.
That's what I
Is that what you, is that a good way to say it? And that they want to get a reaction on, if we do this, and it's included in all of the other public improvements we're gonna ask the town to take, are you gonna be willing to take it? Is that the question you think they wanna ask?
Yeah, that's basically what I'm getting at, and so I took the initiative as far as the engineers that were doing the review to do this cost assessment on the lift station, what it would cost over the lifetime of it, so. But I would expect that, we should have that back. I actually was kind of surprised I didn't have it back yet, but I would assume I'll have it by the end of the week, and I'll get that over to you, but you'll probably see graphs
And Adam sent to me right before Christmas their plats and finally their declaration. Do you all have that?
Yes, I think I've seen. I know I've seen the plat.
Right, but I don't know that he copied y'all on that with the declaration. Now, I'll look at that, but we do have engineers looking at their proposed final plat and comparing it to their preliminary plat for conformance.
So I can't, we haven't. I
Okay.
know you and I talked to.
Okay, so we just need to pick that up, right?
So, okay,
Okay.
so I'll get those over for somebody to review.
Oh, okay.
I kind of was didn't know who needed to review those.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know whether Chris can do that either, but I can't. I mean, the extent to which it's plans and drawings where they're saying to us that we're gonna ask for the final plat to be approved so we can start selling lots, to put the final plat beside the preliminary plat and say these are the same. Somebody other than me needs to do that, and maybe Chris can. I don't wanna spend money on GRW to do it if we don't need them to. So we'll sort that out.
I think that's important though, because they've tried
It
to make
is.
some changes along the way.
It is.
We need somebody not that you guys can,
No,
but we need
I
a
don't
professional.
want to be the one that reviews it.
Well, and we do, the way it works is if they submit a final plat that conforms with their preliminary plat, we
Right.
have to
Right.
accept it. But
If it doesn't,
if we accept it and there are changes in there that got
Shame on
past
us.
us,
Yeah, shame on us.
we're stuck with it, right? So. Okay.
Angela, do you remember what you wanted?
Yes, I do. I just wanted to add, and I'm glad the engineers are looking at it. I don't know how much it costs to run a gravity station, but I know from looking at the new energy bills every month for years, those lift stations, I mean, when he says the electricity is enormous to run them, I'm talking $4,000 to $5,000 a month.
And we've never gotten a bill for
Yeah,
gravity
gravity's free.
in the history of the.
Oh, gravity's been
town.
free.
Figure out a way to charge.
Wow, that's a lot of
It's
money.
enormous.
That's a lot of money.
But it's more costly to them to build a gravity station.
Which seems odd.
It
Seems
does.
counter.
Okay, I thought I was following this.
That's what I told you.
They can reduce pipe size.
In my brain,
Down to
I
like
know what
inch
the
and a
answer
half
is,
pipe,
but it's
2 inch
not my
pipe,
decision. So
instead of like
I-
8 inch pipe.
Gotcha.
I think
So-
what Matt's saying too is if you guys are all entertaining this, I think there needs to be some thought into compensation of if you guys do want to take this, Gravison needs to turn around and boot some funds or some other type of improvement. That's just my opinion on all of that.
Yeah, because, that was a quick talk that Lee and I had.
Yeah, there it is.
You do have that ability to say, okay, hey, we'll take dedication to this. but
In
you're gonna do
consideration
this.
for.
But if it's 40 or 50,000 a year just to run the electricity, that'd be an
Yeah.
awful big
I mean, that's-
concession for them. I don't see
In
that.
consideration.
That's, again, was my thing, is what compensation they would be able to give us that maybe you would entertain it, would offset the cost of what it would be for a gravity.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. This time, the meeting is open to the public. If you have a question or comment, we ask for your name and address.
Nope, I don't have anything.
Okay,
Well, it's good to see you. Glad you came to
Thank you for
visit.
coming.
glad you could make it. Okay, being no other business, we are adjourned.
Thank you. The last topic was kind of funny. The last topic was kind of funny. Well, that doesn't hurt to ask.
I'd like you to pay for my car for the next 35 years, John. Would you do that?
I've got it.
All right,
Go
thank
get a
you.
new one.